It's officially spring, so plants will be actively growing again, so here are some quick tips to help your plants get off to the best start this year. I'll also show you how to check if your dormant plants are actually dormant or if they're dead, so don't throw anything away until you've done these checks. Early spring is the perfect time to pot up plants or repot them, so if you've got any larger plants that maybe need a larger pot than they're currently in, pot them up before they start to actively grow, that way they can settle into their new soil and the new pot and you won't have to disturb them during the growing season. It's also a great time to repot any plants, maybe if they need some fresh soil, or possibly redistribute plants that grow from bulbs such as Oxalis or Caladiums, to mention just two, so you can move the bulbs amongst the pots before they start to actively grow again. I'll touch on that again later when I talk about checking if plants are dormant or dead. And on that note of redistributing bulbs, it's also the perfect time to divide any plants that can be propagated by division. So plants such as the ZZ plant, peace lilies, Colocasias and many others can be propagated by division, so check your plant collection, and if you want to multiply them and spread them out amongst more pots, then now is the time to do it before they start to actively grow. So hopefully during winter you will have reduced your watering frequency, as plants won't have needed as much water during the colder months, so now you can start to increase your watering, and as you start to see new growth, gradually increase it back to the usual levels you'd use in spring and summer. So when you start to see new leaves and new growth, you can start to add fertiliser again, and just like with the water, you can gradually increase that to the usual levels that you'd use in the spring and the summer. So I like to use a water soluble one so I can mix it into the watering schedule, and then I'll use it once every maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Of course it depends on the plants that you have, their fertiliser needs, whether they need it or not, and also the instructions on the pack of whatever fertiliser that you're using, and hopefully that'll give them a bit of a boost and help them with strong growth during the growing season. So is it dead or is it dormant? I'm going to run through some quick checks that you can use to make sure that you don't throw anything away if it's still got potential to grow this spring. So some houseplants that are grown from bulbs or corms can actually go dormant and die right back to the bulb or corm. So they look dead, which means you can inadvertently throw them out with the soil by accident and not know that they can actually come back in the spring and even grow back year after year with the right care. So I thought that was the case with this one. This is the Colocasia Esculenta or elephant ear colocasia with these wonderful lovely green leaves, and these will become so much larger, as the name suggests, elephant ear colocasia, and it's got some new leaves on the back as well about to come up. So I thought this was completely dead and I was about to throw it out before I saw some green shoots at the back of the pot. I had it as a single bulb or corm in the pot from the previous year, and I had put it in the right spot to overwinter it, but what I didn't realise was there was a slug or snail or something in the pot that sort of crept out and then ate the bulb over the winter period. So I'll show you that in just a second. So the main bulb was damaged when I was about to throw it out, and that's when I noticed those green shoots. So I gave it a bit of water and they have then grown up into these wonderful new leaves. And what this actually shows me is that even though the main bulb is dead, it's obviously produced two offset bulbs or corms in the pot to produce these two brand new plants. So the takeaway here, I guess, is if you are disposing of any houseplant soil that has had bulbs or corms in it, even if the main bulb or corm is dead, just double check around in the soil that there aren't any potential fresh bulbs in there or offset bulbs in there that you can actually plant up separately and still get growth from them. So that's the case with this one. I'll remove this as I'll show you the dead bulb. You can see how it's been eaten there if the camera zooms in. And then these two will be two new Colocasia plants from this single one that I thought that was dead. So just to point out as well, I did put this outside during the summer months, so it was on the patio in the garden. I don't generally have slugs in the house getting the house plants, so a slug must have been hiding in the pot when I brought this in for overwintering. So then I've got Oxalis, so these pots are very, very dry, as I've not watered this since before Christmas, before I started to overwinter them and then let them dry and remain in the soil. So as this soil looks like it's seen better days, and this one, what I'll probably do is just unpop these, shake off the soil, and then I'll pop the bulbs up in some fresh soil, maybe in a larger pot so I can pop them together and then really get a full looking plant. And then I'll just gradually add water and wake these up, and then we'll have some of that wonderful purple foliage from the Oxalis triangularis. So another plant type that can go dormant and die completely back to the bulb or corm are Alocasias. So if you've got any Alocasias and you've noticed them struggling over the winter period, or maybe they've died completely back, that could be why. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the plant itself is dead. So I've got this one here and it had died back in the pot, and so before I decided to throw it out, I actually got this corm out of the soil so that I could double check it and see if there was still potential in it to grow back this spring. So a couple of checks you can do are check the weight of it first, so take it out of the soil, check the weight. If it's got a good weight, that's a good sign. If it's airy, it might be that it's dried up inside and it's dead. Another way you can check it is by giving it a bit of a squeeze, and if it's firm, then that's good. That means it's got some substance to it. If it just sort of gives way in your fingers, then it's probably died inside and it's just waste material, so you can then get rid of it. One other thing that I did do to check, because sometimes bulbs just look dry and dead anyway, because they've been dormant for months. So I've just peeled back a tiny bit of the dry layers to get to the growing tip, just to see what's going on. And I can see there is some fresh material there and what looks like a growing point. So that gives me reassurance that this does have potential to grow again. And one other thing that I noticed, again, if I bring this closer, hopefully the camera picks it up. On the left hand side, or this sort of side, there is, or are, two small growing points coming off the bottom of the bulb as well. So they have potential to create more leaves from the bottom of the bulb there. So I will plant this up, give it some water, put it in the right conditions, so light and temperature, and then hopefully that will start to grow the Alocasia again for this year. So as I said, if you've got any Alocasia bulbs, or really any bulbs or corms, you can use those checks to see if they are still viable before you throw them out, and if they are still viable or have any potential of growth, just stick them in some soil, give them some water, give them the right conditions, and then hopefully you'll see new leaves again, and then you'll remember year after year to do the same. So I did cover something similar in my Caladium video, which I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll link it at the end. If you've not seen it yet, then you can maybe watch that next. And that's all about Caladium care, how you can plant the bulbs in the spring and look after them, and also how to then overwinter them. So this is one of the bulbs that I had left over. This is actually one of the dead bulbs, hence why it's not been potted up with the rest of them when I did the video. And this one, as I said, doing the squeeze test, as an example, this one is a dead bulb, so it's just completely giving way and crisping when I'm squeezing it there. So those checks can really help you define whether a bulb or corm has potential new growth in it. So as I mentioned it earlier in the video, I will do my next video on the Oxalis triangularis, its origins, complete care, how to pot up the bulbs or repot them if you've already got them, and also how to divide them if you want to spread them out or redistribute them, and how to propagate the plant when it's in full growth. So if you'd like to watch that, then please do subscribe and you'll be notified when the video comes out, along with all of my other plant videos which come out usually every week on a Sunday. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll respond to everyone, and as always, thank you for watching Grow Your Wellbeing.